Hello and welcome to GA Flying. Today we are in Hungary and we'll be checking out a very special update, one I was waiting for a long time. It's about the Antonov An-2, a plane that I have flown before on the channel, one of my favorite Microsoft planes. Actually, there aren't that many, so probably only 2 or 3, but this is really something special. And it was kind of working before in the 2020 version, but with every sim update there were more and more bugs. And I think with the last one, the brakes were totally unusable pretty much. So it wasn't flyable, at least for me. So now it works. I was already flying it. And we have also received lots and lots of additional stuff in the package. So let me just show you the plane here. This is a custom livery. The livery makers were very, very fast because there's a lot of people who love this plane. So I will link the livery link in the description. So one new thing is obviously all of this 2024 functionality with those external elements that you can and should take off, right? Don't forget the pitot cover because it's easy to miss. Also the chocks, we have 2. Okay, and this very cool cover here we can also take off. We also have all of those standard 2024 career mode options here with checking the status of this one. Still, they don't work in free flight, so we can damage it, but it will not go over to the next flight if it's just free flight. Hopefully Asobo someday will give us the option to save the state between flights outside of career mode, but for now it's not a thing. As you can see, just a beautiful model with lots and lots of detail everywhere. Very nicely done materials, or all of the reflections here. And with this I think we can go into the plane, but first let me just show you the airport. So this is a custom airport, but it's part of MSFS. It was added in one of the world updates. I'm not sure which one, but this will also be in the description. So let me show you where we will be flying. So we are starting here and we are flying to this small airport close to the Balaton Lake, which is, I think, the biggest lake, the largest lake in Central Europe or Eastern Europe. A lot of fun stuff to see. Sadly, the destination airport will be a standard one because I couldn't find it on Flight Sim.to. But the way should be pretty nice looking. Sorry, let me show you again. The most important point is that we have an NDB here. And when it comes to the avionics in this plane, we can either get the version with GNS, so the Garmin 650, now I'm lost, the most standard one that you get in most planes, or this classic NDB navigation. And we will be using this NDB navigation plus some VFR in this case. So a very nice fitting livery here, and I think you can just go inside. Let me make sure that we don't have the pitot cover. No. Okay, so this is the standard functionality. It will just teleport you into the cockpit, sadly, and close the door behind you. Still, everything is usable. You can just normally move around, and also if you want, you can open and close it from here. Some nice clunky metallic sounds, and also if you want to load cargo, you can use this one. There are now loads and lots of variations of this plane and the 2024 version. There's floats, there is the crop duster, there's the skydiving version, there's the cargo version, and I think there's also like the snow version, but I'm not sure about this one. There's like 2 rows of versions, so lots and lots of stuff to try out. And they work with all of those expected career modes, so firefighting, oh right, there's also a firefighting one, crop dusting one. I have seen that some people didn't like the choice of cargo missions with the cargo version of this one. Apparently it's not giving you many, and they have already reported it as a bug. And also another bug is, I think, that I have seen on the forums, is that the cargo version has a problem with the starter, so for starting the engine, and you have to start it automatically. So this is what you can expect for now. It's just a beautiful interior. And like the different versions have different interiors in this case. I think we can just close it here. Yeah, nice and clunky. Let me open the window. When it comes to the sounds on the ground, the engine is kind of boring sounding, but luckily in the air it's pretty exciting and it sounds good. Okay, so as I said in the beginning, we do have a livery that is a custom, pretty nice, that is a custom livery, but we also have this interior that is a custom interior also from Flight Sim TO, also the author of this modification for the English lettering. Was very, very quick at updating his mod, and now, as you can see, I can use it here. It's perfect. The nice thing is that in the prior version of this mod, this English lettering mod, it was not working with custom liveries, and there was like a complicated process of like changing text files for it to work with custom liveries. Now, in the description, it's still written that it will only work with vanilla ones, but as you can see, for me, it also works with a custom livery without me having to do anything. So just perfect and very convenient. As you can see, I'm using this new manipulation method in the cockpit, and this is something that I'm always using in older planes that have a lot of switches. Also because it's not always clear if something is like on or off. So I would just show you what the setting is. So here, flight interface, and I have it on lock, delayed, instant. And this is also how I'm flying the Grumman Albatros. So especially if a plane is old and has those like shutters that you have to click and wait for them to move, this is very, very handy. So I can recommend it at least for the first flights that you will be doing. And with this, I think we can start. So battery 2 on. It's not very warm, but I always like to show this one. It's like typical for Soviet era planes. And we will be using the checklist from here. It's pretty conveniently placed. This 2024 version has the tablet here. If you don't like it, you just have to click on this one. Depending on the view, you can also see this piece and just click on it if you want to get rid of it. The checklist is pretty nice. I think it only misses some small items, so we will make sure to remember it. For example, locking the tail wheel is here, and I think it's not part of the checklist. Maybe I'm wrong because there is a lot of items, but I think this is what I remember. Okay, so flight controls. Okay, I have set up a view here because it makes it much easier. So altitude indicator is caged, and this is how it starts. Battery switches on. This is what we have done here with this one. Okay, so COM radio power switch. Let's see where it is. Okay, here and back to my view. Fuel shutoff valve. Let's just hover over it. It's closed and we need it to be open, and now thanks to the tooltip we can see that it's open. Okay. Pneumatic valve, this one I know where it is. It's here and it should be above 0. And here we can see it's open, because I think they have changed the starting position to what we had in 2020. Okay, air pressure more than 0, yeah it was. Okay, parking brake set, so the parking brake is here and we can see it's on. So once again, tooltip very useful because otherwise it's hard to know. Okay, fuel selector to both. I know where it is, so it's here. And it should go to both. Oh, nice. We also have this nice lettering, but it just says open. So here you can see it's both. Okay, I also know where the beacons are. So here. Anti-fire power system, one of those breakers, perfect. Oops, not this one. Engine gauges, nice. And I think those are also useful, and those are not on the checklist. So those displays for the shutters. So let's just, yep. Fuel quantity indicator also has a breaker. So when it comes to the history of this plane, I have like explained it in detail and talked about it in detail in the prior one, but it was pretty much produced all over the world, like starting with Ukraine, then I think China, Poland, Russia, Eastern Germany, and it's also used in China, Cuba, so all of those post-Soviet countries. Or like communist countries, I guess, in this case. Okay, let's not talk too much. So this is okay. Fuel master gauge. So this is okay. This should stay on both. And this is the indicator of the fuel. Here. Whoops, sorry, just a crazy standard camera system, because for a time I have disabled chase plane, so it's jumping around like crazy. And fuel quantity, we have checked it. We should have enough. Let me just take a look once again here. Yeah, this is more than enough. Okay. Starting engine. Prop lever to full. So this is here, so we have to move it. Look. And once again, tooltip shows you if it's the right direction. Okay. Mixture should go to rich. I'm always forgetting. No, this is the carb heat. So yeah, and it's at 100%, so it is already starting at rich. So before we start priming the engine and stuff, we should open all of those shutters and coolers. For some reason, I think it's not part of this one, but it's very important, especially in the 2024 version. If you don't do it, the oil will quickly go into the red. So this is something that I haven't seen so pronounced in the 2020 version. This is a much stronger effect here. So if you don't want it to leave the scale here, make sure you will start it with everything open. And once again, tooltips. Maybe some system is... okay. Let me just make sure I'm doing it in the right direction. Yeah, might be that some system is not on. Let me just see here. The rudder trim. So maybe we have to very quickly turn on the engine and then turn on those systems and like cool the engine. Because before, when I was doing my test flight, I did it like always. So first I turned on the engine, then there was lots and lots of like other items, and then in the end they said to open the shutters, and by then it was already in the red for me. So now we will try to do it quicker, I guess. Okay. So manual fuel pump, 3-4 times. Loop, loop. Nice. So I know where the primer is. It's here 3 times. A lot of manual work, but it's a lot of fun. Okay, so prop clear, and we can start. Magnetos. I guess the starter master, but let's not jump ahead. Yup. And let me tell you how this works. So this is the starter switch. So first we move it left, and then we move it right. So how do we know when we have to move it right? Once this will start somewhere here, once we start, and it will go down, down, down. According to the checklist, it's enough if it goes below 8, but in my experience, it's best to wait till it's further down, and here we will have the spin-up display. So I'm most of the time just waiting till it's close to 100%. And it works. As I said, the sounds on the ground are nothing special, which I think is very typical for those planes co-produced with Microsoft. Okay, either way, less than 80 amperes, so this is what we were monitoring, and then the clutch. Okay, so throttle to 1/4. Here we have the RPM, and it should go to around 800. So this is like 1000. So we are now at 1000 RPM. So we can even throttle it down a little bit. Okay, 1/4 of an inch. So this is what we got. Oh, and now we have to monitor all of the stuff. This will quickly go up, probably. Can I see? Yeah, and this is still cold. So let's proceed with the list then. Okay, starter master can go to off. Look. And alternator can go to on. And here we have the inverter, which can be on main or auxiliary, and it just starts on main, so totally fine for us. If we hover over it, we can see it's on main. So let's do before taxi. Carb heat will not be needed. Okay, so now we turn on all of the systems. So trim tabs, flaps. Okay, cowl flaps, instruments, this is fine. Temperature indicator, okay. Is this on? Yeah, it is. So I can really recommend to have a view here, because it makes it much easier. And we will want to use the ADF for us. And the transponder. Navigation lights. Normally they were only used at night, but as we are kind of flying in a more modern environment here, let's just put them on. Altimeter setting, this is in millimeters of mercury, which is different. So let me just show you. I just googled hectopascals to millimeters of like mercury, right? And I'm just getting the numbers I need here. So 756. Somewhere here. Let's see if everything is in the green. Here you can see it's getting already pretty hot. So the oil, parking brake released. No, not yet. And tail wheel lock, as I said, needs to be off, and it is off. So we will be able to steer it on the ground. The steering is simplified from what I understand, because normally you were supposed to be using toe brakes, and here you can just steer with the wheel. And I haven't seen an option to get rid of it. Now let me see if the shutters are working, because as I said last time, yeah, now they are working. So the interesting part about the cowl flaps is that you can see them here, really moving, and the more you open them, the worse the view will be out of the cockpit. But still, let's just open them. I have a hotkey on my joystick for it. Yeah, and when they are like on maximum, it's hard to see anything. Okay, and with cowl flaps it's kind of easy, so they regulate the heat here, the cylinder head. It's kind of easy to see, but the oil cooler is invisible. I mean the opening and closing of it, so this is why we are getting like a gauge for it here. And it's nice that not everything is translated, because you still have this like Soviet atmosphere, I guess, with some parts. Oops, I didn't want to do it. Yes, sadly I couldn't find a binding for it. There's also a manual for the plane I will show you in a second, but it's not providing the binding. It's providing bindings for some things, but not for this one. Now it's at 100%, so this should stay in the green. Can get rid of this. I wanted to show you the manual, so just a second. I can show you where you can find it. I will also link it. So when you are buying Microsoft planes under Flight Simulator, you just have all of the manuals. Sadly, this manual seemed to be still the one for the 2020 version. I couldn't spot any changes in it, but it's still okay for the basic operation of the plane. Sadly, it's not providing that much detail. So here you can see it's called version 2, but it's talking about MSFS 2020 still, and I couldn't see any updates to it. There's a great part about the history of the plane. It was used as pretty much everything possible for every possible function, including as a suicide drone, like packed full of explosives during the war. It was also used for the insertion of like special troops, just because it's a very short takeoff and landing plane, so you can land it pretty much everywhere. And for lots and lots of other stuff like crop dusting, as I said, different military uses, transports, and all of the functions that we also have like for the career mode here. One interesting fact that I couldn't spot for a long time is where the flaps are, because I'm using the binding on my joystick, but it's actually at the side of the throttle and below it. So pretty much here and here. Pretty original solution. Okay, so let me see. So we are getting a little bit cold here and can't really warm up. So I think we can close them a little bit. Just not too much. And here I can use my binding. Hopefully I remember which one it is. Yup, and they are going down. I can really recommend at least closing them to bind the closing function somewhere, because this is what you will use during the flight, and there is no autopilot, so you will need to steer the plane at the same time when operating all of those flaps, which doesn't need to be easy. It's a very stable plane, very easy to trim out, and that's why it's not a problem that there is no autopilot. But at the same time, I mean, it still needs your attention. Taxi light. Oh. Landing lights, not yet. Pitot heat, not needed. And we will test the brakes and the rudder. And we can start. As with all of those tile draggers, especially the ones that have this massive nose, it's good to set up some additional views. So I have those for taxiing. And let me try to taxi it here. Haven't flown a plane for, well, I guess 9 days now, so I'm a little bit rusty. Here you can see those great, hear those great sounds because it has hydraulic brakes, the same pretty much that trucks have, and this is also something that really helps the plane operating from those very short runways. Turning on the spot. So now the sounds are still pretty weak, but you can trust me, this will change once we will be in the air. When it comes to the leaning, because now we could consider leaning on the ground for ground operation, I was reading up on it a lot, and it seems that in some of the planes it's even welded shut, so you cannot move the mixture at all, and many pilots don't move it. They just keep it on the ridge operation, because apparently there is auto mixture functionality, but it's not working very well in the reality, so they are not moving it, so we will also keep it. Okay, parking brake here. You also have it on yours, but the co-pilot one is more convenient to reach, I think. And it's just a beautiful cockpit. Let me just show you another view. I mean, just amazing, very unique and very nicely crafted. Actually, the original version with the Cyrillic ones here looks even a little bit better, but the English ones are also pretty nice. Okay, so what was it that I wanted? Let's not drop the RPM too much, and now we can take a look at the checklist. So now we can go to the landing lights. Okay, rudder and brakes work, so let's do before takeoff, and there will be more stuff. So battery. Yeah, there is juice. I'm not entirely sure how to read it. I think this is 28, right? If we look at the indication here, this is also what we know the volts. Carb heat will not be needed, mixture stays on rich, fuel selector is selected to both, altimeter was set, heading gyro. Okay, so this moves this gyro, as you can see here. Not sure how much more we need, but probably some, so let's just wait for it. So there is gyro drift here. Thankfully, we do have some automation that we are using now for setting it up. I just wish it would be a little bit faster. Is it? Now I need to compare. So it should be at 6 and 1, I guess. We can also set this one up, so 6 and 1. Somewhere here, I think, probably. And now unlock it. Now this will work. But this should, like in theory, set to the same. So let me see. But it's already... Huh? Okay, in my prior flight, this is working correctly. So I'm wondering... Oh no. Yeah, it's okay. It's just like a little bit behind 6. So this is fine. And now... let me change the view. This is for our NDB navigation. We will be flying a heading of 306. Okay. And now we can also set up NDB. So let's just turn it on. And let me think about this one. So let me show what I will be doing here. So first we'll be using the departure NDB, so 412. Also pretty unique. And the last one is here. And this is also why the tooltip is so nice. Because here we can see exactly the frequency that we have tuned, and we can see the strength, the power of the NDB, not receiver, but the NDB antenna, and we can see it's full. So we have captured it correctly. The second one will be the destination one. Once again, let me show you. 436. Okay, and now we know it's perfect. Now here you can switch between both of those navigation sources. And with this, let me go back to the checklist. There's a lot of work, but it's very unique and very fun. So if you're wondering where the temperature is, it's actually here. So, oh, really close to 0? Or maybe I didn't enable something. So radio altimeter is actually the alarm for it, so this will sound if we turn it on, so let's not use it. Let me check this. Intercom power is not needed. Panel light, no, seems like we have all that we need. Let's also use the transponder, so this puts it to on. Let's put it to altitude mode. Okay, and it should be on. I'm not sure what this one does. External power position. I don't know, let's just use it like this one, because this is just on and off. Oh, because this is inoperative. Okay, makes sense. So let's just proceed then. We are not heavy, so let's use 3 to 5 degrees down on the elevator. And once again, this is a place where this tooltip is really useful. Is it going down? Yeah, it is. Was it 2 to 3? There is also a paper checklist in the manual, so I can recommend it. No, it's 3 to 5. Okay, and there is also a rudder trim setting, which is, I think, 003. What they mean here. So let's use it here. Yeah, I'm not sure, because normally 1 degree would be just like with 1 dot, and we have 2 dots. So I'm not sure what they mean. Maybe it's an American thing, once again, that I don't understand. We don't need any flaps. The runway is pretty long, and now we can uncage here to use it. Let's see if everything is in the green. So this is green-ish. And this is not green yet, so let's just add some power. And we can close the shutters a little bit. If for a moment I was thinking we are moving, but thankfully not. No, they say that everything should be open. So I'm not sure. Maybe the temperatures need some more tuning, because as I said before, I pretty much burned the engine despite like following every possible instruction. So maybe one patch or 2 will be needed. So we have the taxi light, we have the nav light, landing light, parking brake. So let's take a look at the settings. So rotations at 85-90, but this is kilometers per hour. And then at 120 flaps up, we don't use any flaps. So we only look at this one. Let me show you. So this is here, times 10. So 10 is 100. So we will rotate somewhere here. It's very susceptible to crosswind. So we will see how we will be able to steer it. Also, the checklist is missing the steering wheel lock that, as far as I understand, should be enabled once we are lined up. So this is something that we'll be doing. There is also like a slight problem, I think, with the location of sound sources. So sometimes it's you can hear it like the engine is behind you instead of in front of the plane. This is also something if you set up passenger views. Yeah, in general, from what I know from the Grumman developer, and most of the time it's Microsoft that is doing the sounds and the developer that is doing a lot of the rest. And it seems like Microsoft is really doing a bad job most of the time. So most of the time, everything apart from the sound is like very refined. Okay, and for now we can hide it. Whoop. And we just go full throttle. Let's just make sure we have full RPM, and we can start. And this was the rotation. Told you, it's like very STOL. Because it was designed to be able to take off and land, well, from and at any location, pretty much. The climb speed is actually very slow, so it's only 700 feet per minute, but here we have it in meters, so it's 3,500, so somewhere, I guess, here. And it needs a lot of rudder input. I was like talking too much and forgot about this. Like lots and lots. Like many short takeoff and landing planes I find. The Vilga also needs lots of it. And we can get rid of some of the power. This will be like a sightseeing tour, so we don't need to climb that high. Then DB is to our right, and I will want it to be behind me. We have left the airport here. I can close it for a second. Let me just take a look at the volume levels for you guys. I see it's not bad. And this stays on for the landing. It's also not specified in the manual, but I'm just assuming based on other tail dragger planes. Yeah, here we have some beautiful views, really, over Hungary. We can get rid of the landing lights. I will trim it out in a second. Just want to gain some more speed. And we reduce the propellers to 2000 RPM, which once again, it's here. Yeah. So like in a classic clock, pretty much. So the whole trick about using NDB navigation is to never let it out from those two bars, because otherwise you will fly this what is called like dog curve or like hound curve, that you will always try to like catch it and will never fly straight on the curves. That's saying we will do some sightseeing, some VFRs. We will probably leave it many times, but just so you know, the lines are there, so you make sure it never leaves. That saying NDB navigation, especially in this plane that is like very realistic about simulating it, is often very imprecise. So it's not that easy, really. Okay, let me take a look at the temperatures. So we are kind of in the green. It seems like we can close this even more. Let me remember. Yeah, here you can see the cowl flaps moving. There are no cruise settings in the manual, but the climb is calling for 2000 RPM, so I'm just assuming that the cruise is probably a little bit less. I would need to go back to my prior video. Actually, I can probably link it now above, so you should see it above now, to see if I could find some cruise settings back then, because now I cannot really. And I was also searching all of those forums topics, because now people are talking a lot of this plane. And I couldn't find any dependable data. Yeah, this is just great, the power of the NDB signal here. And I think I can just trim it out. So here you can see, where is it? Let me hide it, it will be easier. Here you can see if you are climbing or descending. So we are descending. It's very, very easy to trim. And you also have all of the trims here. So rudder trim, aileron trim, and pitch trim. So pretty much for people who like hand flying, there is no problem at all with trimming. That saying, if you look at the plane, just make sure we're not descending, and I will show you. Oh, that's a nice view. That's a very nice view. Okay, so what I wanted to say is that if you look at the plane from the outside, you can see that like lots and lots of lift is being produced by those like double-decker wings. So if there is strong wind, you can really feel it in this one. So if there's very bad weather, I find it hard to fly this one, mostly because it has no autopilot and you have to fight it yourself. But like with normal weather conditions, most of the time you can just trim it out for cruise, and it works without a problem. Let me just get some more trim here. Oops. Yeah, the views are just amazing. We can go back. Let me maybe use a little bit of the aileron trim, maybe, yeah. And let me show you the passenger view. Also pretty nice. This looks like an old movie with the dirt here. And we can also take a look here. And maybe you have noticed it. I'm not sure if it will be recorded correctly, but with this view you can hear the engine from behind and not from the front. And this is the same here. You can hear it from behind. So I hope this will be also fixed. So some other bugs that people have spotted, I have written it down, is that it seems that the flaps are too powerful, that they are introducing too much drag. And this is something that you will for sure notice. Even if you use the first notch of flaps, you will feel the nose diving pretty hard, and there will be lots and lots of drag introduced. So if this is realistic, I'm not sure. The guy on the forum who said that it's unrealistic said he's a real pilot of the Antonov 2, so why not trust him? And this is something that was also changed in the plane, because in the prior versions, also like in 2020, but like in the prior 2020 versions, there was almost no drag at all when using the flaps. So you had to always do a very, very shallow approach. Because otherwise it was not possible to get rid of the speed. And now it seems like it's the other way around, that it's a little bit too strong. So something that I can recommend that I'm always forgetting about is to use flaps on the very end, on the final approach. Because once the flaps are used, you will drop speed very fast. And you can see here that the signal of the NDB behind us is getting weaker and weaker, but this was expected. Like, there is a reason why we are no longer navigating with NDBs, like most of us. The night lighting is also pretty cool. I will show you once we land, once we will be there. And for now, I'm not touching the controls for the last 3 minutes, just so you know. This is just the plane being trimmed out. I was even thinking if I shouldn't go and look for some kind of additional utility application that would introduce like a very basic autopilot for this plane, so I could just like go and make some tea and it would fly. But first, I couldn't find anything, and secondly, this is really, really stable. As I said, as long as we don't fly it in turbulence and very bad weather. And then it's still stable-ish, but you just have to have your hand on the joystick. Here we can pretty much see the same, the NDB signal. I think, because I was comparing it to the prior cockpit, that they have changed how the COM radio works. For a moment I was thinking maybe they gave us enough radio, but sadly no. It's still NDB. But on the other side, it does make this plane very unique, but you just need to plan where you want to fly if you will have NDBs there. So here I can see we have lost the signal pretty much. Yeah, I mean, still we see that we are in the middle of the variation of the needles, so still we are okay. So this still helps us a little bit, I guess. Let's take a look at the checklist, because once again I was talking too much, so just to show you. So 2000 RPM for the climb, the airspeed for the climb, and just monitoring all of the parameters. So we have done it. Let's go to cruise, once again monitoring the engine, checking the air pressure if it's being built up in the compressor, so we can check it should be over 40, and it is. So this is fine. And the batteries, where was it? I'm always forgetting. Oh, here. Okay, I think this means 28, like in other planes. What is it called in Najats? It's like years since I was learning Russian, and I was never good at it, so... Okay, and flap 0. And then we have the descent. Look. Another outside view. Yeah, I mean, it's just a beautiful plane. It's very awkward, obviously, but it's also fascinating. It's pretty much like a communist DC-3, I guess, because it's very short takeoff and landing. It also can load lots and lots of stuff, and it's kind of easy to fly. The other characteristic thing about this one are those slats here. So if the plane is getting too slow, they are deploying by themselves, because they are like on rubber bands or something, and they are just kept like this because of the airflow. If the airflow is getting lesser because of the slower speed, they just retract automatically. And according to what I was reading, they are generating enough lift to just do an emergency landing without the engine. Okay, like with a vertical speed comparable to a parachute landing. So this is also interesting, and this is also why this plane was so popular, because obviously, like in those communist countries, there was always problems with parts and the technical state of those planes. So if despite of an engine failure it could be landed like safely, this was for sure like a great benefit. And it was a very successful plane with 18,000 pieces built, and it's still being flown. I have seen some articles that like even in Russia, as they now have those problems with getting plane parts from the West for obvious reasons, they are considering reusing this old fleet of those An-2s that they had. Like thousands of those are still flying all over the world, but they just have some more like stored somewhere, I guess. Yeah. I find this charming. Okay, and the other one, what was it? Clock heating. This is interesting. It's not described in the manual, but like we can assume it might be really clock heating, although it's inoperative. We also have some nice wipers. Are they working? Let me see. No, not window heat. Yeah, so wipers are here, I guess. The funny part is that you can also operate them manually. Like if somebody would brake, you could still They really thought about everything. Okay, let me know. Yeah, like this. And obviously the view here is also amazing. So I'm not surprised that like in some places of the world it's still being used for sightseeing. So it's really unique, slow, easy to fly. Nice modeling here. And just so you know, pretty much through the whole conversation that we have, I don't know, maybe 6 minutes, I'm not touching my joystick at all. I don't even have my hand on it, and it's just like flying like an autopilot. That saying, this is on me. We should be flying on our course. So let me just turn on it, and let me remember to follow the ball. And we can switch to the other NDB. But I don't think we will have the signal right now. Normally the range for this NDB signal in this plane is around, I think, 20 miles, which is much less than in other planes that I'm flying, because I'm also using NDBs, for example, in the Baron from Beechcraft, that also have this radio simulation. And there I think many NDBs I can catch from 40 miles, 30 miles. So here it seems to be a little bit less, but maybe it's also the limitation of the real radio suite here. And with this, I think I can jump ahead, and I will come back to you once we will be closer to the destination airport. Bye bye. Okay, and we are back. Very close to the Balaton Lake. We will just fly over it and then turn left into the airport. As you can see, it's not like a custom city, but still pretty beautiful. And the plane just looks perfect. Here you can see the Balaton Lake. And slowly we will take a look at our descent checklist. So engine idle, we are not there yet. Carb heat is not important. Fuel selector is to both all of the time. Let's check the pressure, if it's fine. Over 40. And here we can see how we will use the flaps. So below 110. Once again, here we will just start deploying the flaps, but I do prefer to do it later, earlier than sooner. As I said, you are losing lots and lots of speed this way. You can turn on the landing lights so you will be seeing. Pretty nice mountain here. I can just retrim it, because I trimmed it for descent. I actually haven't checked if this company is still flying these. I would assume it's more probable that it's like a historical thing, but at the same time they have like an address here. Well, let me see. Was there like a website address, or am I wrong? No. So I'm not sure if it's still a thing, but I mean, it's close enough to reality to be found. Yeah, I might consider getting one of those plugins that are adding a lot of sea traffic to a lot of places. This is obviously like a lake, so lake traffic. I think there is even like a payware one that is changing lots and lots of those yacht ports and lakes and those touristic areas. So maybe I will take a look at this, because it will be just perfect if you would see those boats here. Oh, maybe you can see some. No, it's just dirt. Sadly not. No, actually it's not that big. I mean, from the air. Yeah, but the graphical fidelity inside is just... This looks great. Like real leather. And this rust here. Yeah, a work of art. I would assume that the model is also done by Asobo, so I guess good job. I wish the sounds would also be so perfect. Either way, here we can see the NDB is already being picked up, so this is where our airport is. And we will slowly turn into the direction of the airport. As far as I remember, it's like on this peninsula here. Yeah, so nice. I would love to take a tour in an Antonov like this. Yeah, forgot about chasing the ball. Yeah, this plane really makes you lazy because it pretty much flies without your controls normally. Ooh, well, this looks really nice. I think it's one of the newer world updates, the one with Central and Southeastern Europe, I think. Either way, I will just link the airport in the description, as I said. Yeah, this really looks nice. And I think we can just jump ahead a little bit, because it's we are not that fast. And once we are on the approach, I will come back to you. Okay, and we are back with some beautiful views here of the sunset. Let me make sure we will not crash into the forest here. And in a second we will be able to turn towards the runway. So what I also wanted to show you, let me first make sure I will trim out the plane. Oh, we are getting some after warm day turbulence here. I just wanted to show you that it seems that the paper checklist has some more details. For example, it has the data for descent, which was missing on the electronic one, I mean the PDF one. So this is also something that I can recommend to use. Now let's just concentrate. Yeah, I was hunting the views, and because of this I'm a little bit too low, but you can still do it. Yeah, this is the problem with NDB navigation, that it's hard to know what the range is to the source of the signal. We have pretty much only this one, and basing on this one, we know it's probably kind of far away-ish, because otherwise it will be on full power. I was landing here lately, and it is on this peninsula here, I think. And maybe it's this one? Yeah, it's here. Yeah, just amazing views. Really like it. We can get rid of some of the speed. We can see this one is getting stronger and stronger. Nice. Can close the windows. And let's see what we will have here. So they want us to land at idle at an airspeed pretty big range of airspeed. So in general, they recommend landing with flaps 15. So this is something that we will do. When it comes to crosswinds, as I say, it kind of acts as a kite in a way. It's really hard to control. Also because the approach speed is so slow, you don't have that much power in the engine to fight the wind, so it can really blow you off a runway. And I think this is pretty much the only complicated thing about flying this plane in MSFS. But MSFS has those very strong crosswind effects, at least if you are flying on realistic. So keep this one in mind. Might be good to maybe change it to a lower turbulence setting, because then the winds are also slower, or they are more regular, I guess. Oh, now we can see it's very strong. Let me get rid of some of the trim I have added, and we should be fine. Actually, now it's kind of too quiet for me. I don't feel the atmosphere of flying this retro plane when it's so silent. And I still don't have flaps, so normally I would have started deploying them, but if I would do it now, you would lose a lot of speed and the nose would dive pretty quickly. Make sure the tail wheel is locked, and we can get rid of this. Here you can see it. Yeah, I have to say it's like a very good place for the EFB, at least if you have like a view setup. So it really makes the checklist easier to perform. I'm kind of not sure about the speeds here, because this is the wide band, but this is how they tell you to do it. Okay, let me concentrate. I'm not sure what we have done here. I don't think I had a float like this one. I think I was expecting that we have landed a long time ago, but we were still floating like over the ground. Okay, so it's not the best landing, but interesting. I just checked that I do have the recording on, so you will see a replay. I think it was like a very gentle bounce, and then you're just flying over the runway. It's a very long process to get those out. I wish it was like a fluent process and not it clicking the whole time. Still, seems to work. The oil is also okay. I just love this sound because I also using Eurotrack simulator, tailwheel steering, right? Where you are... Is this closed? No, it's just like a hold. No, it is. Is it? Let me see. This is what you get if you're flying those standard airports. No, obviously, the only closed one. No. Are all of them? Okay, so let's just go back like this. Yeah, but just a beautiful machine. And I also like all of those small sounds. It's like always in Microsoft planes, the engine sound on the ground that for some reason is like very, very quiet. I don't know why. Because it doesn't seem to be hearing protection, because there are times where on this plane is like much louder. So, I don't know. Either way, I just love it, and I'm really happy that it's back in MSFS. So there are just a handful of small bugs, and then it will be perfect. I'm not sure about the career mode, because I don't have experience with it, but like the crop duster for sure works, because I have seen it being used on a video, and also the firefighting one I think works. So can I use this one? I will just use this one. Let's not prolong it, because I still want to show you this part with the night lighting, because this also has this like communist era fluorescent lighting, like for example the Vilga, that I love on the Vilga. So we'll just take a look how it was done here. Let's try it out like this. And I guess without doing the whole round, oh, maybe we can. It's a pretty nice effect here. Not the blue one, but I mean the reflection. Is it really like this? Okay, we can turn. We can turn on the spot, so let me just get rid of those. Parking brake. And we can do the shutdown checklist. Last time somebody told me to remember to close the flaps, because if there will be rain, there will be a problem for the engine. So I will do it. This time I have it on my joystick, so it's less annoying to do it. Yeah, but this is a really interesting effect. I know it's a thing in many retro planes, also in Warbirds, that you can see less if you have them on, but here it's like very pronounced. So let us take a look. Before maybe we turn it off, first let's take a look at the the night lighting. So let it be night then. Okay, now you can see it. Pretty interesting. Nice. And you can also move the lamps here. I think this is the violet one. Ugh. I'm not sure. Yeah, we can see the light here. Okay. You can customize it a lot. Yeah, all of those. Nice. And let's go back. Ooh, okay, also nice. I like this shine here. Flaps 0. Flaps to 0? No. So we have flaps here. Oh yeah. Okay, so they say us to open them, but this is probably for taxi. So all off. I mean, I would assume you can just turn all of them off from what I can remember. This is the transponder, ADF power, com radio power. Yeah, the lights we can keep on, just all of the shutters. Panel light, let me see. And probably magnetos to off. Okay, so the engine is being shut off by putting the magnetos to off. Oh, we can do it. Ugh, let me make sure. Do they first want us to shut off the alternator? No, so magnetos first. Okay. And now for sure we can turn off the alternator. Okay, I won't keep you because there is lots and lots of stuff here in the cockpit to shut off. Let me get a nice view of the plane. And maybe not with this generic stuff here, so maybe let's do it like this. Once again, a very versatile plane. Pretty much the only limitation of it is that the range is not that much. It's like 500 miles, so not for long tours. But it can land everywhere, start from everywhere. Maybe in very heavy weather, I would find it tiring to keep it stable, because then you would have to like hand fly all of the time. And with the like very violent weather that you can see in the MSFS, this can happen often. But other than this, lots and lots of fun. And I think now till tomorrow, there's a big sale on the marketplace that all of those like marketplace co-released planes are cheaper. So if you're interested in the plane, this might be the perfect moment to buy it. I just love it, mostly because it's so unique that like if you're having many planes, you are for sure not flying them like this. Okay, so there are many additional steps that are just fun to use just because they are so different to what we're all used to, and it's all being done in a very high quality. I also like that you have to keep everything in the green. So during the flight I was talking a lot, showing a lot, so I missed it probably many times, but normally when I'm flying and concentrating, this is also very satisfying to keep the engine as healthy as possible. And with this, thank you very much for following the flights, and I see you in future GA flying videos. Thank you, bye-bye.